Congressman Scott Perry. How are you?
Yes, ma'am. I'm well. How are you? You sound like you're fired up.
I am. I was just saying, like, we're not even 48 hours into the new year, and all hell seems to be breaking loose all over, not just here on our own soil, but around the world.
Well, the prospect of a change of the status quo is looming large on the swamp, and people think that the swamp ends at the Beltway in D.C., but it doesn't end there. It infects state capitals. It affects nations.
Wow.
Look, the United States has a multi-$7 trillion economy, and there's a lot of people around the world, of course, locally and across the country that want to get their hooks into a portion of that. And, of course, around the globe, radical Islam is on the march. And totalitarianism is on the march. And, of course, we've had a lack of leadership in the greatest country in the world for the last 4 years, and people are taking advantage, and they're going to take advantage right up until the last minute.
I mean, like, that is perspective. I didn't even think about it from that perspective, especially outside of America. But what happens in our country impacts the world. And we're watching right now. You have Xi Jinping in his New Year address reaffirm the fact that Taiwan is going to be a part, that they are going to reunify with Taiwan. So he's putting in, he's throwing out his intention. You have the leaking of Russia's secret plans against Japan and South Korea. You have Zelensky deciding, we're just going to stop the flow of energy coming out of Russia to the eastern part of Russia. But we think sometimes that these things are happening in isolated buckets, but they're not, are they?
No, I don't think they are. I mean, look, different countries and, world leaders have their perspective, and generally speaking, they're doing what's in their own nation or, unfortunately, oftentimes their own personal best interest. But a lot of these things are linked. And, of course, look, it's taken, 50, 60, 70 years for the communists in Russia to link up with the communists in China. But they are linked up now, and it is very, very dangerous. So these things don't occur in a vacuum, and we need to take that into consideration for the things that we do, which may seem meaningless or small potatoes to the United States of America. Certain statements, certain actions we take, I guarantee you, world leaders around the world, especially despots, are watching. And look, we have telegraphed weakness over and over again for 4 years solid now, and this is what you get out of this. And some of these things are not irreversible, but they are nearly irreversible. You talk about the devastation across Ukraine. You talk about the gains that China has made, the Communist Party of China that they have made over the last 4 years, emboldening them to just come out and say, look, we're going to take Taiwan, essentially saying to America and the civilized world, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, exactly. And I love the way you said with the communists of Russia locking arms with the communists and China. No one has really talked about how dangerous that is, but that locking of arm happened under the Biden administration. Is there a way? Now, I'm of the belief that Putin does not like being the little brother of Xi Jinping. And if someone like a Donald Trump can walk in and offer him a way of escape in that relationship, that Putin would be inclined to, to stand on his own 2 feet. He's had to rush into the embrace of China just because of how Biden administration has rushed on the side of Ukraine and everything else. Do you think we can split the two up, Russia and Ukraine and China?
I think that's possible. That's going to be a delicate dance, of course, because both of them are adversarial to the United States, and we're going to want to put pressure on Russia. We would like, obviously, not to have spending our hard-earned tax dollars in Ukraine, and the way to make sure that we don't end up with service members on the ground over there in uniform serving is to use other methods. So we're going to want to put pressure on them, which is going to push them to the arms of China. But at the same time, we've got to put pressure on China as well for our own self-interests. And so it is going to be a delicate dance The one thing that is certain, though, in about, 18 days, the guy who loves America, who wants to put America first, is going to resume the mantle of commander-in-chief. And both of these two despots, Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin, know it. Now, they're going to work right up to the last minute, but it's like the teacher's going to show back up in class and all the funny business is going to end.
I know.
And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but
right.
They're on notice and they know it.
Hey, let me ask you real quickly. Now, Republicans have 53 seats in the Senate. We're 7 seats short of being filibuster-proof, cloture-proof, and all of that. How do we get Trump's agenda passed in the House and the Senate when we have leftists on one side and unwilling Republicans serving everywhere?
Boy, you characterize that correctly. And so if we send things through what we call regular order, so what that means is that we have a bill that makes it through the committee on the House floor, it gets passed, and we send it to the Senate. The Senate's going to take a look at that, and, of course, they got to get 60, and you got to get people like Susan Murkowski from Alaska or Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins from Maine, who are generally oftentimes vote more with the Democrats than Republicans, and so those bills get watered down, and, of course, people like us are very, very disappointed. The way around that, it is very limited. It has to have a spending a financial component is a thing called budget reconciliation. So the policy can't be the policy associated with it can't be more than the money associated with it. So the money has to be the primary thing. But for instance, if we want to secure the border the way we want to, we have to do it through reconciliation and show that we are doing it by saving billions and billions of dollars, and the money is the primary example, not the policy that comes out. And now the policy, of course, is a benefit. The reason that reconciliation, Kathy, is so important is it only takes 51 senators, including J.D. Vance as the president of the Senate, to pass these things. We don't need one darn Democrat, and we can afford to lose a couple very liberal Republicans. So that's going to be the key. The House has to set it up correctly in coordination with both the president and the leadership in the Senate. We are on the right track right now. We think we're going to do at least 2 reconciliations in 2025, and we're hoping to do the first one in the first 100 days, which will be primarily border.
Oh, I love it. Now, do you think, because you laid out the plan, do you think the Republican Party has the backbone, the courage, the spine to do what is necessary, or do you think we may that we're still at risk of folding like a cheap suit the first time someone puts a negative tweet out about somebody?
Kathy, I love you. This is great. It's just no nonsense right to it. And, we never want to pick on our own team, but we don't want a lot of people either. Look, the Republican Party has great ideas and great communicators. What they lack is courage and will. And you're absolutely right. I mean, look, I hate to say this, I sat in a meeting with members of Congress and Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy talking about this Doge. And one of the members got up and said, please give us a backbone. And I was so embarrassed for us. Look, if you go to Congress and you don't have a backbone, I think you ought to get another job, right? Get a different job. But here's the thing. But there's some important thing that has changed here, and you saw it during this last thing that we tried to do on this spending bill.
Right.
Elon Musk has a huge social media following. So does President Trump. So does Vivek. The American people are sick of these midnight deals where the status quo continues. And I think that once the information is out and who's causing the problem, so to speak, that the American people are going to weigh in and say, we want the border secured, and we don't want to give up amnesty to get secure borders. So don't be putting those two things together as an example.
I
right?
love that.
We know that you're going to have to deal with the debt ceiling, but we want to get some savings, and we want to cut all this wasteful spending in the process. So we understand you got it. We don't want to default, but we're not giving it away for free, and Republicans have to be on board. I told the Speaker in December during this whole spending fight, I said, Mr. Speaker, the more you let Republicans keep asking for things, the more Democrats keep saying, well, if you're going to ask for things, then we're going to double or ask for the votes. Quit asking for things and we'll pass something.
Yes, I love it. And not only do I love what you're saying right now, but you're also putting the onus back on the people. This is our government, too. So we are the backbone. We will be the wind underneath the wings of many of these representatives and staying involved and engaged. Not only do I like all of everything that you're saying, but I truly appreciate you, Congressman. I look at these bills as they're being passed and being proposed. You are always on the right side being what is in the best interest of the people. I appreciate you and your fight. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you, Kathy. Stay in the fight. As you said, this is our country. It's our government. We don't want to be babysitting these members of Congress, but we need to know what they're doing, and they need to hear from us. So be heard. God bless you.